The truth can shake a courtroom, but today, it's about to turn it upside down. In a case filled with twists, tears, and jaw-dropping revelations, these families step into paternity court, some seeking answers, some others refusing to believe the truth. But when the DNA test results are revealed, the entire room is left stunned, speechless, and forever changed. Buckle up, because this is one video you won't forget. Ms. McKinney walked into court with one goal: to prove that Mr. Davis was her father. But before the truth came out, this case was about to take some wild turns. Get ready for a roller coaster.
Ms. McKinney, you are here to prove to the defendant, Mr. Davis, that he is your biological father. You say after your mother's tragic death and 2 recent medical scares of your own, today's results have become more important than ever. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, let's take one giant deep breath and a step back. Her parents' so-called love story? More like a jigsaw puzzle missing half the pieces. They got married, but let's be real, that marriage barely made it past the opening credits.
2015, with ovarian cancer, I felt the need that I need to find out who my children's grandparents are. So if I passed away, I just want them to have a family that. My mother told me that her ex-husband was Michael Davis. The defendant is my father.
And just when you think you've heard it all, boom! Mr. Davis spills details about his wedding day disaster. One minute he's saying, "I do." The next, he's hit with a reality check that changes everything.
Mr. Davis, you were married to Ms. McKinney's mother how long?
1 day. Well, I was with her for 1 day.
What?
Yes.
Y'all
yes.
lived together.
You were married for 1 day.
But they lived
We were
together.
together.
Tell the court what happened. What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, the day we got married, I took off and we got married and I had to go back to work.
Fast forward, and Ms. McKinney finally meets the man she believes is her father. For a while, it feels like a perfect fit, but just as quickly as they connect, things take a sharp left turn.
I was 18. I was dating a young man, and one night he asked me, we were talking about family. He was like, "Let me see your birth certificate." I let him see mine. And he looked at me and was like, "I know your mama and your dad." I was like, "Oh, I don't know my father. I never met him."
Desperate for proof, she brings out photos, hoping to find even the slightest resemblance. With no father in sight, her grandmother steps up as her rock.
I mean, his daughter felt like I looked just like them. I felt like I met my dad, like everything erased.
Tell the court who's in these pictures. I see you.
Yes.
And that's Mr. Davis's other daughter. And when you saw that picture, you felt like I looked just like her.
But Mr. Davis, he wasn't convinced. He claimed people had planted the idea in her head, and in a shocking twist, he believed another man was her real father.
Did he also believe, or were you ever told that the other man could also be your biological father?
No, I put that in my head. Roger never told me that. It's always been Michael Anthony Davis is your father from everybody. Even other men that's supposed to be the father, they always said Michael Anthony Davis is your father.
Then comes Mr. Williams, the man who had been there all along. His testimony, absolutely jaw-dropping. And just when you think the tension couldn't rise any higher, Mr. Davis's wife jumps in. The courtroom was on fire.
I was been there ever since she was born. I was there in the delivery room with her mother.
Did you believe you were her biological father? What did her mom tell you about her pregnancy?
Well, after we'd been together, and then maybe about 6 months into the relationship, she told me she was pregnant.
After years of confusion and family chaos, Ms. McKinney deserved the truth. Judge Lauren Lake held the answer, and now it was time to uncover the final verdict. Nothing was ever going to be the same anymore.
Mr. Williams, you are not her father. Mr. Davis, you are not the father.
This particular case was #loco. Cheating on your spouse on Valentine's Day is crazy. Quite callous, right? But that's exactly what's on trial today in paternity court. A young couple stands before Judge Lauren, ready to uncover the truth about their child's paternity. But here's the kicker. No matter what the DNA results say, their marriage is already doomed. Buckle up, because this case is pure chaos.
Mr. Fetters, you say you're in the midst of a divorce because your soon-to-be ex-wife is a serial adulterer who even cheated on you on Valentine's Day, which you believe resulted in the birth of her 9-month-old son, Corbin.
Yes, Your Honor.
The million-dollar question, who betrayed who? Ms. Fetters has no doubt in her mind. Her husband is anything but a devoted partner or a responsible father, yet she swears he's her baby's biological father, even though she admits to some questionable choices. One thing's for sure, this courtroom drama is about to take some wild turns.
Ms. Fetters, you say your husband is an irresponsible crybaby who can't keep a job, stay faithful, or please a woman.
Yes,
While you admit to making some mistake, you say Mr. Fetters is undoubtedly Corbin's biological father.
Now, why is Mr. Fetters so convinced his wife is a serial cheater? His reasons will leave you speechless. But wait, something doesn't add up. If she was really as unfaithful as he claims, why did he still walk down the aisle with her? Either he's twisting the truth, or he's just hopelessly in love.
It all began when we first met at a water bowl. I thought I'd met her at love at first sight. Up until the 6-month mark, she had informed me that she had slept with my family member.
6 months into your relationship, your girlfriend sleeps with your family member.
Yes.
Ms. Fetters fires back, insisting that her husband's accusations aren't entirely accurate, but then, bam, she drops a bombshell. She did cheat on him. The twist? She claims she came clean right after. Hold on, what?
So, Ms. Fetters, did you sleep with the family member?
No, I did not. The family member and himself lack in a department, so I did not finish the duty. Nothing happened.
Oh.
He just thinks something happens. He has no hard facts or information, and when I do sleep with someone else,
And just when you think this story can't get any messier, it does. Ms. Fetters shocked everyone when she asked for a divorce after giving birth. Why? Her reason will leave you absolutely floored. She believes he's lacking in a department that's very important to her. Can you guess what it is?
This come as when he was conceived, I had to pry the information as to why she was wanting to leave me in the first place, and come to find out she had actually slept her ex-husband, Justin. And this was on this was the day before Valentine's at midnight. We went to go see 50 Shades of Grey. We had a wonderful night.
Judge Lauren is left speechless as Ms. Fetters reveals the jaw-dropping truth. After a sweet romantic movie date with her husband, she left that same night and to sleep with her ex-husband. This isn't just reality TV drama. This is next-level betrayal.
I'm going to be with my ex-husband.
No.
That is what I said. And he knows.
Before you left?
Before I left.
She did not, Your Honor.
So wait, you go to the movies and have a good date night, and by the end, you're in the bed with your ex-husband?
Yeah, he didn't want...
Mr. Fetters isn't buying her excuses and stands firm, insisting he's always been faithful. But why is Ms. Fetters throwing out these accusations with no proof? Is she trying to make herself look better, or is she just digging her own grave? Either way, no DNA test result is going to save this marriage.
Honor,
You have sex with other women, but you won't have sex with your wife?
She has no factual proof. I've never slept with any other women outside of our relationship.
When did she come back?
She contacted me at 7:30 in the morning to let me know where she was at. So I came there with our 2 children at the time, and she had told me that she didn't want to be with me.
Here's where things get even crazier. Ms. Fetters admits to sleeping with her ex, but she still believes Mr. Fetters is the father. But seriously, how does he even look at her after what she did?
I told him that I spent the night with him.
Was it protected sex?
Nope.
He actually didn't completely finish.
Okay, so he did not
yes.
finish the act.
Correct.
And you admitted this to your husband.
Correct.
But wait, there's more. Now we're talking about the window of conception. If this story was a movie, it'd be called 50 Shades of Disaster. Not only were the characters going crazy, they wanted the court to join in on its unhinged form.
How soon after this incident did you find out you were pregnant?
I found out, I would say, just like maybe a month later, a month and a half, I found out. And the conception date was between February 11th to February 14th.
To back up her claim, Ms. Fetters throws out one last shocking detail about the man she was with. But let's not forget, she had unprotected sex with her ex-husband, then hours later got intimate with Mr. Fetters. That means her baby has 2 potential fathers.
Clear something
She
up
goes
for
to somebody
you.
else to do the same
My
thing.
marriage with him ended because he can't have children. A doctor told him his sperm count is too low to conceive.
So did the doctor tell him he can't have it?
Yes, it's a very low chance that he can have any children.
Do you have
That's why I wanted to
Very
start
low is different than can.
At this point, we've heard enough of the accusations and denials. The only thing left? The DNA test results. But let's be real, no matter what they say, this marriage is over. The level of drama in this relationship is beyond repair.
The biological father is Mr. Fetters. You are the father, sir.
I'm very, very happy. I have words, can't even describe the fact that I'm glad that he is mine.
This courtroom showdown had all the makings of an over-dramatized movie plot. Whitman versus Anderson and Mapson was the kind of case that had people gasping one minute and shaking their heads the next. You might want to brace your mind for this one. Ms. Whitman was desperate to establish paternity for her baby, hoping it would also salvage her fragile relationship. Meanwhile, Mr. Anderson was adamant he was not the father. Yes, they had been together, but she had other men in the picture.
Ms. Whitman, the man you claim you love is standing in our courtroom hallway.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you confess you cheated on him with the defendant.
That's right, Your
Mr.
Honor.
Anderson. So today you're here to determine the paternity of your 1-month-old daughter, Michaela, in hopes of saving your relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickened when Whitman revealed how she met Mr. Mitchell. Their romance began on a bus, and things quickly escalated. But just 2 months in, she crossed paths with Anderson. Their friendship took a messy turn when she suspected Mitchell was cheating. Her response? Having an affair with Anderson. He, however, wasn't losing any sleep over her claims. He found the idea of being the father ridiculous, and for a good reason.
So, Ms. Whitman, you were in a relationship with Mr. Matt.
Yes, we were in a relationship.
Then you ended up cheating on him with Mr. Anderson.
That's right, Your Honor.
So now explain.
Well, me and Mr. Mitchell met at a bus station when I was coming from Chicago to Arkansas.
Anderson had seen Whitman getting suspiciously close to one of his relatives, his own cousin. Not only had this man stayed with Whitman for a whole week, but Anderson was also convinced they had been more than just friends. Whitman denied it all.
I have doubts because I know she was sleeping with other men besides me.
Specifically, how do you know that?
Because I've seen them up there, Your Honor.
Up where?
Me, for
No,
one.
I need details. This is court. I need details. I need facts.
Things got even more annoying, as she initially sent her pregnancy test results to both Anderson and Mapson, but later changed her stance. That alone raised major red flags.
Okay,
You say,
I'm gonna tell you.
yeah, you
Okay.
say you saw them with your own eyes.
Yeah,
Explain
yes.
to the court.
Look, we are all, this is a small town. It's a small town, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows who drives what. This particular person I know stayed with her a week.
Enter Mr. Mapson, the supposed love of Whitman's life. When asked if he suspected infidelity, he admitted he had doubts. Their long-distance relationship made trust difficult. At one point, he wanted to be at the hospital for the birth, but held back, unsure if the baby was his.
Jerome, I think it's time we talk to Mr. Mapson. Please escort him in.
Come on with me. Have you go up to the witness stand next to the judge?
Meanwhile, Whitman felt left behind and discarded, dealing with the pregnancy alone as Mapson kept making empty promises. She described how she endured the entire pregnancy without either man by her side.
Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Mapson. So we're here, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to beautiful Michaela. And we understand Ms. Whitman has testified that she was in a relationship with you at the time the child was conceived.
Yes.
Mapson had distanced himself, and Anderson had completely cut her off, blocking her on all social media and even her phone. Anderson, however, was furious that Whitman publicly claimed he was the father, knowing full well she had other partners. That accusation alone cost him his own relationship.
I went through the whole birth alone, the whole 9 months. He even stopped talking to me, and I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Anderson because he blocked all communication, Facebook, telephone, and he stopped answering the phone for me, Mr.
Anderson admitted he had doubts from the start and even suggested a DNA test, but when it came to splitting the cost, Whitman refused to contribute. This led to yet another heated argument, one that even had Judge Lake raising her eyebrows.
Did you pursue a DNA test at all? Did you
Yes.
say, I want to have a paternity test?
Yes, I did.
What happened?
And we argued about that.
What's the argument? She admitted she didn't know.
He wanted me to pay half of DNA test, but Mr. Mapson also wanted me to pay half. I wasn't finna pay half for both people.
Meanwhile, Mapson tried to connect with the baby the only way he could, by comparing the child's features to his own family members. Whitman, however, was clinging to hope. If Mapson wasn't the father, her relationship with him would be over.
Do you all think she looks like me?
Correct.
And are you all in a relationship?
No, we're not, because we're trying to get the results of this, and then maybe we could move forward.
The emotional toll of this case was undeniable. Anderson finally broke down in court, overwhelmed by the stress and uncertainty. While he wanted what was best for the child, Whitman had her own agenda, keeping Mapson in her life.
You seem like you feel emotional right now, Mr. Anderson. What do you feel?
I'd have been through so much. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what I went through before I got here.
What are you feeling now?
I'm feeling pain.
Because
hurt.
this situation really bothers you.
This situation has affected my life, you know. My baby mama.
And then the moment of truth. Judge Lake held the DNA results in her hands. The tension in the courtroom was unbearable. The next words out of her mouth would change everything.
Is the biological father of 1-month-old Michaela. It has been determined by this court, Mr. Anderson, you are not her father.
Thank you, Jesus. I knew it. I knew it all the time. All that stuff you've done to me.
We have another result. Mr. Mapson, you are her father.
Crow stormed into paternity court, determined to prove her late son, Jay, fathered her child, Thomas. But Jay's mother, Reinhardt, wasn't having it. To her, Crow's claims were nothing but a cash grab. And trust me, this was just the tip of the iceberg.
Miss Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Crow accused Reinhardt of blocking every attempt to confirm Thomas's paternity. Reinhardt clapped back, saying Crow used Jay for money and was now after his death benefits. But for Crow, this wasn't about cash. It was about Thomas knowing his roots, wondering who's telling the truth.
Used your son for money when he was alive, and now is trying to claim him as her son's father only to get death benefits. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Crow's tearful testimony moved the courtroom. She insisted Jay knew about Thomas but never got the chance to be a father. Reinhardt wasn't moved. She dropped a bombshell. The timeline of Thomas's birth didn't add up.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not talked to him about his father, or have you?
I have.
You have?
Actually, when my son was first born and he was, just a few months old,
Reinhardt was convinced her son would have told her if he had a child. This is the equivalent of parents saying, "I know my child." They usually, in fact, do not. But let's see. Meanwhile, Crow described a whirlwind romance with Jay, saying their love led to their son's birth. But then, another shocking twist surfaced.
Looking at that picture,
I understand.
my son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out, and I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother.
Jay had schizophrenia and the mental capacity of a teenager. Reinhardt questioned whether he even understood what fatherhood meant. But her strangest claim? Thomas didn't resemble her other grandkids.
He'd have believed you if you told him the sky was purple.
well, that's
He
your
only
own
had the
opinion.
He
That's
only
your own
had the mental
opinion.
capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this and you
He
know
had-
what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic, and he had stress seizures.
And I took care of
And
him.
my son was
I didn't
very
leave him
close
because
to
of that.
his mom.
Crow fired back, saying Thomas looked like her side of the family. But Reinhardt insisted Thomas lacked pigeon toes.
I have strong genes.
So, Ms. Crow, you say your genes are strong as well. Do you see a resemblance to his dad?
My son, he has a silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay.
A birth trait in their family. The women were at each other's throats. Crow revealed that Jay had lived with her when Thomas was born, but his mental struggles forced her to send him away. She claimed she tried contacting Reinhardt, but Reinhardt denied it ever happened.
To the point in which the baby was born, was JC participating in the birth?
Okay, so me and JC, at the time we were living together, it was March 2015. I have decided to no longer go any further in the relationship because I have 2 other kids. I'm pregnant.
The courtroom was a war zone as both women refused to back down. Then, the moment of truth arrived. The judge read the DNA results, and the revelation shook the entire room. Turns out Reinhardt wasn't being completely honest about why she doubted Thomas's paternity.
The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas Crow is 99.6%. You are related. That is your grandchild.
The courtroom was about to turn into a storm of secrets and paternity shockers. Buckle up, because this wasn't just another case. It was a full-blown revelation. Mr. Harrington insisted the defendant was trying to trap him with a baby that wasn't his. But oh, trust me, this story was just getting started.
Mr. Harrington, you claim you are not the father of Miss Day's 1-month-old daughter, Nalani Day, and want her to stop pinning her baby on you. You say your sexual relationship with the defendant ended before she got pregnant. Ms. Day, you say you would never attempt to pin a baby on a man without being sure he is the father.
Mr. Harrington came armed with accusations, claiming Ms. Day was handing out fatherhood like a raffle ticket. But she wasn't backing down. She was certain about her child's paternity. And just when you thought it couldn't get wilder, her testimony flipped everything on its head.
Is not the father of my child. I am the Virgin Mary. There's no other possibilities. I have not been messing around with anybody else throughout the time that we were messing around.
So you are 100% positive Mr. Harrington is your child's biological father?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Imagine walking into a routine MRI appointment and walking out with life-changing news. That's exactly what happened to Ms. Day. Sounds like a scene from a movie, right? Well, reality hit hard when Mr. Harrington pulled out the evidence.
I went to go and take an MRI. I was doing a brain study, went to go and take an MRI. When I went to go take the MRI, before you take it, they have to give you a pregnancy test because it can affect your pregnancy or whatever. So when I went to go and take the pregnancy test, they came back and they told me that I was pregnant.
Anonymous texts, missed periods, and layers of doubt. This case had all the ingredients for a paternity disaster. And just when you thought we hit the peak of confusion, Mr. Harrington took us even deeper into his version of the truth.
That's how I found out. Then I asked my sister, I called her, whatever. I was like, so I heard you was hiding the pregnancy. She was like, Kayla didn't want me to tell you, and she was also saying that you the daddy. And I'm like, how? When she ain't talking to me. So I tried to call her. She not answering the phone.
Something wasn't adding up. Ms. Day started off confident, but you could see her certainty start to crumble. The more details surfaced, the messier it got. But before we dig deeper, who was this mysterious second guy?
I probably told his sister before I told him, but even if it was something that I did not tell him, it was only a week, probably like a week span of time.
Yeah, you sound right.
And how do I sound? Like somebody telling the truth,
like you trying to, like what you do all the time. You try to work around a lie.
Despite all his suspicions, Mr. Harrington still showed up at the hospital when the baby was born. But now it was time to hear from the defendant's witness. And let's just say, her version of events sent this case spiraling in a whole new direction.
You showed up for the birth as the daddy?
No,
Yes,
I didn't even sign a birth certificate. How?
You didn't sign a birth certificate, but you wanted to give her your last name?
If it's mine. If it's mine. I said, if you're sure that it's my child, give her my last name.
No, you did not.
I did say that.
Are you going to give her my last name?
And so hold on, let's get some order.
And then came Mr. Harrington's now infamous chauffeur metaphor. Oh, but he wasn't done. He even brought an exhibit to back up his claims. Buckle up, because the next part, a timeline that changed everything.
You're denying this baby because you have a new girlfriend. What is your doubt?
I wasn't even finishing her, you know. I wasn't finishing. We was doing, you know, I was like a chauffeur. I was in and out, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why.
You didn't complete the sexual act, so you don't feel like you could have impregnated her.
And I'm gonna tell you, because the conception date.
So you're saying her conception date is wrong?
It isn't right because I went.
Now this was some next level detective work. The numbers were lining up and things were finally making sense. But Ms. Day? Oh, she wasn't having any of it. She shot back with full force. Was it enough to shake the case? Or was it a desperate attempt at grasping straws to prevent oneself from falling?
Even admitted that was during the time when he was still completing the sexual act.
No, I wasn't completing it in October.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't?
I wasn't.
You wasn't. Are you serious?
I know
no, you obviously don't.
Mr. Harrington, you can step back over to the podium.
I know what I was doing. How you gonna
no, you don't.
How you gonna tell
me
what I was doing?
Apparently. Okay. Because I know. I was the one who ended up pregnant from your actions.
Okay.
Well. Ms. Day was running out of options. Her statements were getting shakier, and that final attempt to clean up the mess, total backfire. You could almost see the regret creeping in.
It cannot. I know that could be only one other person.
You don't know. You don't know.
No, I do.
Fascinating testimony, Ms. Day. We've been waiting all day for this.
No, I think people are getting confused of what I'm trying to say.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. After all the drama, all the twists, and all the bombshells, it was time for Judge Lake to reveal the truth. So, who was the father?
Mr. Harrington, you are not the father.
What?
Told you,
Are you serious?
Told you. Can I Millie Rock?
No. No, you can't.
Sorry, I'm bad.
No, you can't. You know why? Because you have another child with her.
Matlock versus Monroe. If there were ever a case fueled by shamelessness, disrespect, and pure chaos, this is it. Mr. Matlock was in court for one reason. He had serious doubts about the paternity of Ms. Monroe's child. And can you blame him? Ms. Monroe had the audacity to invite her ex-lover into their home while Matlock was away on business.
Mr. Matlock, Matlock.
Yes, ma'am.
You say that a few years back you were suddenly called away on family business.
Yes,
While
Your Honor.
absent, you claim the defendant, Ms. Monroe, invited her former lover to move into your family home.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Upon your return, you say you forgave her and resumed your sexual relationship.
Yes, Your Honor.
But hold up, Ms. Monroe had her own set of doubts and a reason for what she did. Meanwhile, Mr. Matlock had something to say about his long absence from home. Was this the strangest arrangement ever? You be the judge.
You admit that you have serious doubts about the paternity of your child as well. You argue that when Mr. Matlock left on family business, he stopped answering your phone calls and texts for an entire month.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's not correct.
In your defense, you say you believed he was never coming back again.
Yes, Your Honor.
According to Mr. Matlock, he never got a single call from Ms. Monroe, though she insists she tried. He wanted to see his son, but without Ms. Monroe in the picture. And when she hinted that he might have had affairs of his own, let's just say he wasn't exactly concerned. Tension hit an all-time high. No love lost between these two.
So, Mr. Matlock, were you getting phone calls from Ms. Monroe and not answering?
No, Your Honor, I wasn't. I would talk to her when I called her, but I don't feel like when I'm spending time with my son, I should have to drop spending time with my son to call her every waking minute.
If I'm your girlfriend, you should care.
Jealous about
You got
jealousy issues. Thinking I'm
Then bam, Ms. Monroe dropped a shocking revelation. She tried over and over to reach Matlock, and when that failed, she made an insane choice and moved her ex into their home. But the real tea? Before Matlock even came back, she and her ex had already settled their differences. What?
Ms. Monroe, when he went out of town, did he voluntarily call you at all while he was gone?
lies.
Maybe
Not one call.
Maybe 2 or 3 times, like the whole time he was gone.
Okay, so 2 or 3 times you did speak to him.
Yeah.
One phone call changed everything. Matlock got the news of Ms. Monroe's pregnancy, but not from her. Oh no! The call came from a completely unexpected source. And as if that wasn't enough, Ms. Monroe straight up told him the baby wasn't his. No wonder he vanished from their lives.
It was going good for about a month and a half. I get a phone call from my sister. What's up?
You ain't who
May
you
pregnant.
pretended to be.
Whoa! What you mean May pregnant? I just talked to her on the phone.
I told you that.
You didn't tell me that. You told me that after I talked to my sister, and you told my sister that you were pregnant.
Ms. Monroe explained why she initially ruled Matlock out as the father, and honestly, it made sense. But Matlock, he wasn't buying it. In fact, he believed anyone, including court clerk Jerome, could be the father. Outrageous and downright scandalous.
Okay. You assumed he may not be the father based upon the fact it had been 18 months and you hadn't gotten pregnant.
Yeah, and within that little amount of time, I got pregnant.
But is the truth that you really didn't know who the child's father was?
Exactly.
It actually, when I had my 5-year-old, she looked just like my other one.
And then came the coldest part. Matlock didn't even know the baby had been born. He found out through a friend, in the most heartless way imaginable. To make matters worse, someone else was with Ms. Monroe in the hospital. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, word got to Matlock that Monroe had been with yet another man, while he was the one paying child support. Talk about a shady situation.
So the point is that you have doubt. Do you know for certain or you just doubt?
Once you say you are not the father to a man, that baby ain't mine no more. I didn't hear from her.
But here's the twist. Matlock missed his court date, the one where paternity was supposed to be established. And just like that, bam! He was legally declared the father and slapped with mandatory child support. Now he was in court, laying out how this mess had wrecked his life. Ms. Monroe, of course, had a snide remark ready.
I said, hey, it's not your baby. And would have just kept it real and meant, hey, it's a possibility. We could have worked on it, and we could have been still probably been together. You
No, I told your sister
said
that.
Out of your mouth, you
I
said
told your
you are
sister
not
that.
the father.
No,
Did you
but
not
I
say
told your
you
sister.
are not the father?
I told your
Mr. Matlock.
Then the court called in a witness, Matlock's relative, and things escalated fast. It was an all-out war between the women, each trying to prove their point. The judge had to step in, gavel in hand, to restore order. Finally, the court pulled out a timeline to break down the possible conception dates.
You're working triple shifts.
I'm killing myself.
Trying to make sure you're paying the child
Trying
support.
to find a second job right now. Not only to pay child support, but make sure Christmas, birthday, school time, my son got what he needs.
Emotions were at a breaking point. Everyone was exhausted. There was only one way to end this madness: the paternity results. And when they came in, Ms. Monroe couldn't handle the truth. She stormed out, sobbing uncontrollably, completely undone by the verdict. One thing was certain: nothing was ever going to be the same.
Mr. Matlock, the wait is over. You are not.
I knew it! Go find your baby daddy. Put somebody else on child support. I won't my money back from the beginning. Trifling. Knew it. I knew it.
Jerome, would you go check on Ms. Monroe and see if we can escort her back in the courtroom?
All my money back.
These DNA tests definitely turned the courts upside down with its mind-blowing results. If you really love this video, please like the video and subscribe to our channel by tapping the bell and thumbs up button on your screen. See you at the next video.